Hey, how we doing, everybody? Coming at you live recorded from the Summer Rain Studios. This is Rage Across the Internet, a Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Porter. With me, as always, is producer Joey.
Hey, guys.
And again, we are gracing the studio with both Jessica.
Hello.
And our boy, Daniel Tyson. Danny?
Dan. Tyson.
Just Dan.
You got it, DT. So, last time, we talked about Werewolf from the perspective of a new player. And Joey and I had a bunch of questions that we threw our young friends under the fire here. And we had some fun. We had some laughs. We had a good show. We had a blast here.
That was a
lot of fun.
I think I cried.
We didn't get the tears bottled properly. There was a mistake.
There was a mistake.
So that contest has been canceled, unfortunately. However, as promised last time, we're going to flip the script. We're going to go a little bizarro world this time, where Danny and Jessica have prepared questions for Joey and I, looking at the long-term player's perspective on the game.
We get to be thrown into the fire now.
This will be fun. So with that, let's hand it over. I know you guys have discussed the order and what you guys are doing, so by all means, someone who's not me talk.
Excellent. I can go ahead and start with that. So I'm really curious. You both have been playing since you were teenagers. And like in case we didn't discuss this, we're all definitely not teenagers anymore. I would like to know, how many characters have you played? How many characters have you created and played? We're going to start with Joey.
Ooh. Oh. Guesstimate, I would say probably in the range of 25-ish. I kept one character for several years, and, you know, she's still my favorite. But I did go through a period of time where I made the mistake of dating my storyteller.
Oh.
Yes.
Bad idea, jeans.
Big mistakes. And in order to prove that he wasn't going to play favoritism and make things easy for me, he went on a character killing spree. Oh,
so he did exactly that and focused it solely on you.
Exactly, yeah. At one point I was, whenever I'd sit down to character create, I would create 5 characters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, simply to have them in my bag and ready to go.
Well, I suppose that probably wouldn't be too difficult if we're just talking dots on a page, tiny little backstory, dots on a page.
Oh, absolutely no backstory.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I actually had one character who walked into, like a pub with, they had rooms for rent upstairs. She walked up a flight of stairs and got beheaded. Oh. That was her entire...
I'm glad you spent any time at all on that.
Exactly. You can see how dots on a page...
weren't even necessary there. You just had to have a name.
Yeah. So that was probably about 7 or 8 characters before the rest of the gaming group got together and said, whoa, time out. Enough is enough. This is causing more of a distraction.
Right.
Will you just stop killing our characters? Jeez, Pete.
He was doing exactly the thing that he said he wasn't going to do. It was all about you.
Well, and it was
just in a bad way.
It was 1000% in a bad way. And it was reassuring to have the rest of the gaming group rally behind me and say, enough is enough. Knock this crap off. And it really did show me that they were willing to stand up for me and with me, and it was a safe place.
That's what you want in a group. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that little spot in time, it was probably a month because we gamed at least once a week.
Okay. You went through like a half dozen characters in a month?
Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, so that really elevates the character generation numbers. But I got really good at character creation. I got really good at dots on a page.
All right. Porter, how about you?
Well...
I know you mentioned that you really are only the storyteller now, but...
But I have had occasion to play. I mean, I was a player before I was a storyteller, not for long. And there was a brief period of time where I had another player who we would trade off. That was a glorious time when I too was gaming every week.
Yes.
So every 4 or 5 I'd be allowed to play for 1 or 2, and that was nice. And I had a brief period a few years back during a Virginia game where one of my players wanted to try a hand of storytelling, so I got to make a temporary character. And we're not counting the NPCs here.
No,
correct?
we're not. No, we're just characters that you have created and actually gotten to play. And had I talked to you first, I would have said for more than 10 minutes, but Joey had a lot of characters that she didn't even play for 10 minutes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
The real answer's 3, technically 6.
Okay.
There was a brief period of time under that same Virginia game where we were doing single tribal one-off games.
Okay.
Where, these were the tribes that the players were playing, and everyone's going to roll that tribe, 1 character, 1 story to get a better idea of how the tribe works and things like that.
Oh, I kind of like that.
That's a really neat idea.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, honestly I helped write those stories, so it wasn't a great break for me. But it was nice to be able to play.
Yeah.
So there were 3 of those. But the real answer that I actually played for more than a day is 3.
Okay.
And those 3 characters are now NPCs?
Yes.
All 3 of them?
All 3 of them.
You have met all 3 of them.
Excellent.
Okay, well, probably more for Joey than Porter, but Porter, please feel free to answer. How does your current character differ from your very first?
Oh, good. Oh, good. Shockingly enough, they are both Aharons, which wasn't planned. That was not planned. I didn't even think of that.
If you had planned 20 years in advance...
I am a planner. I do plan ahead.
No, conspiracy theory man over here is going to get something going.
Ooh.
There is an island somewhere with a J-shaped tower she flies to in secret if she planned 20 years in advance.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I have to say that this character that I'm currently playing plots more. My very first character was just seat of the pants. If it feels good, do it. More of a hedonist. This one is there's reasons behind her actions. She plots. She's got a longer game.
Got it.
So, that's kind of the difference.
Okay. So I guess then we're going to ask Porter, if you were to create a character, if you were quote-unquote allowed to play, how would this new character differ from your first?
Well, what I can do, actually, if it's all the same to you guys, is talk about my first of those 3 characters,
okay.
The first to the last. And my first character was pure, unadulterated garbage water. It's embarrassing to the point...
Well, you were 15.
I think I was younger than that.
Okay.
But
And to think he told us this character isn't currently now an NPC in our game.
That's
evolution.
Also evolution. But it's so embarrassing I'm going to talk about it. That's it. I referenced in our intro episode, about the friend who came over, put the book in my lap, I made my jokes, and then I made a character that night. I didn't talk about that part. It was 3 hours of a storyteller not helping me, just giving me a book and a sheet, and I don't know what I'm doing. And what I came up with was an Aharon Metis Getafenris with a Grandclave who had fangs in all forms as his Metis deformity. So, no discernible downside here.
Wow. Impressive.
His character was Gur, I suppose. It may have been Smash. I'm not entirely certain because it didn't matter. It was just a train wreck. And, that's a character that, is an NPC today. But it's a character who went through a lot of evolution and I created him almost anew. And it's really the same character name only. And it's more of a symbol of all the games past. Back to the topic, my most recent character, that was someone that, I built properly. I made a human being, and you want to avoid Cardboard Town. You want to make them as 3-dimensional as possible. And it was an established character, so he came in at rank 3 to match that group. So what was he doing? I mean, that's the challenge in making a character that's got a few ranks under them, is they have a, what have they been doing all their fucking lives?
Yeah,
They
you
have
have more of a
adventures.
backstory.
Yeah. And so I came up with this character who, at least in his own mind, thought he had it all. And then lost it all. And through the 5 or 6 stories I was playing, this character was kind of getting back on track. And because that character is an NPC in this world, I could further that growth and development. Because now you have a guy who learned these really harsh lessons because he was kind of a shithead. And, you know, now he's got it back. He's got his power back, if you will, you know, as a human, as a person. And so does he learn from his mistakes and be a better person, or does he fall back on old habits and just does it smarter?
And now, me thinking, which character in our game is this? And I have a pretty good idea.
Oh, it's Jude.
Is it Jude?
Yeah.
Oh man, not my
I
first
could've-
guess, but it was my second guess.
I could have told you it was Jude.
No,
Come
it's
on.
Xylo and Jude.
Well, I knew Xylo. But Jude was not my first guess on that as far as the most recent character.
No, sorry.
No, that's fine. Because it was still good. And Jude, honestly, in our games, Jude's still one of my favorite NPCs. Even though my character kind of thinks he's an asshole.
Well,
Yeah,
Because
might be
he
because he
really
is.
is an asshole.
We're not talking about specific NPCs here, though. We're not talking about our game.
that's a different show.
To piggyback on that, then, so Joey, your first character and your current character are both Ahrauns.
Yes.
Is that your favorite thing to play?
No.
So, what are your favorite tribe in Auspice?
Well, my favorite tribe is the Black Fury.
Okay.
Period. The end. I've got the glyph tattooed on my body. I'm a Black Fury. Period. The end.
Okay.
All right, switch to Porter.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Why do you hate women, Danny?
Oh,
Oh boy.
here we go.
And this is where
We're
I
gonna have tears
pummel
again.
Danny. This is where I pummel Danny into the ground.
All right, we're gonna time out for that.
Okay,
Apparently
now
he's
that we're
looking
back.
forward to it.
So, my favorite auspice is Philodox.
Really?
Yep. I love to be the judge, jury, and executioner.
I knew that was the next line you were going to say.
And when I got invited to join this group, I asked what you guys were, you know, what tribes, what auspices, and what the holes were.
Okay.
So it was, you know, between Aharoun or Galliard.
Around sounds like it'd be a lot more fun to play.
I'm not doing a Galliard.
No.
No.
No, I don't think I could do it either.
Not in my games, Jesus.
No, definitely not.
Not if you want to be embarrassed.
So, my current character is the child of Gaia, Aharoun.
Which, let's face it, doesn't sound like it should be allowed to be a real thing.
But,
Kind of an oxymoron.
but having played with that character,
Oh no, she's definitely both of those things. Yeah, that's...
so, you know, I found that middle ground.
Yeah, no, you did a good job with it.
And that's what I was looking to do with this character, was thread a needle.
Okay.
You know, whatever she ended up being, I wanted to find a dichotomy, you know, and just find that perfect sweet spot.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now over to Porter.
This is actually easier than I thought it'd be now that the question's in front of me. The auspice is Thursh. I love that, the creativity that can be involved with being a Thursh, with interacting with the spirits and finding different solutions to problems through working with the spirits. You know, hey, we need a distraction to bust into this facility. Well, what if I mess with the spirits and convince these to shatter all the glass in this high rise at once? You know, it's a hell of a distraction. Maybe we'll sneak in that. You know, just an off the cuff example. But I love the idea of there's a creative freedom in that. If you can just take the box and you could say think outside of it, but I'm saying throw that fucker away.
Yeah, both of my characters have been Thurges. For the same kind of reason, is that it's a lot of fun to try and come up with the stuff. I have a hard time getting out of the box still sometimes.
And
So-
we're going to work on that, you know.
But I agree with you, as Thurges, I feel like even if I made another character, like that's probably still the direction that I would lean, because I enjoy the creative stuff with the spirits too.
That's a lot of fun.
And I think jumping onto the Theater's bandwagon, there are multiple ways to play.
Yes.
And not everyone approaches it the same way.
Oh, do we have an anecdote for the Thurge episode? Believe me. She's very
Stay
excited.
tuned.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. For Tribe Shadowlord,
That doesn't surprise me at all.
you know.
If you
Not in
knew
the
Porter,
slightest.
you knew that was going to be the answer.
Man. You know, much like Joey, I too am glyphed. I have a Shadow Lord tattoo. The thing with me, with the Shadow Lords, is, you know, they get a lot of guff. You know, they're sneaky, they're manipulative, they're, you know, and I'm not saying that those, it's not without merit. But it was something that hit me reading the revised Tribe book. Is, you know, you read these Tribe books and it's a lot of bluster. You know, it's coming from the tribe. You know, and there's a lot of, this happened, but it wasn't our fault. We did this, but it wasn't our fault. And there are instances in that book where the Shadow Lords go, yeah, we did this and it was totally our fault. Look, we cleaned it up or did our best to. Or, I want you to understand why this happened, but no, we did it and it was our fault. It meant a lot to me to watch a tribe take responsibility when normally they kind of pass the buck.
Well, I think it's more of a self-propaganda. You know, they're trying to, in the tribe books, you know, take credit for the good stuff and pass along the bad stuff.
Right, but the Lords owned some of that bad stuff. And I mean, I can look at the Bone Gnawers book against the Silent Striders book, and you can go down and they'll argue about what happened in the past and why it's not their fault and it's the other tribe's fault.
Exactly.
When, you know, they own up to it. And, you know, what I learned, what I read in that book, in the Shadow Lords book, to be clear, was, you know, people say this about us, and they say that about us, but really is it the ends, do the ends justify the means? But we're trying to stop the end of everything, so yeah, fuck it, anything goes. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate that honesty.
Yeah, you know, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's the thing. There's a level of honesty, even if it's shitty from them, and I like that.
I like that. Unfortunately, these next two are actually specific to Porter questions.
Feel free to grill him all you want.
Oh, man.
So the first one's going to be which NPC that you currently are playing. I'll limit it to the ones that we know of in our game now.
Okay.
Which is your favorite and why?
Okay.
Not necessarily which is your favorite to play, but which is your favorite NPC.
And that is a really tough question. I'm fond of a lot of those NPCs.
There are countless NPCs in our game. I really have no idea how many are in them.
Oh, I'm not counting. Don't make me.
I have a rough estimate, and you'll hear it in the next question.
Sweet. Well, I guess, you know, there's the characters you guys meet very rarely, and I'm going to set those aside because they don't really get the screen time, and I'm going to go with Whiplash, who is an Ahram Geta Fenris, who is part of this group's home sect. And I choose Whiplash because Whiplash is a believer. You know, you could go so far as to call him a religious fanatic in terms of how he feels about Gaia and the mission to stop the apocalypse. You know, he's mean, but with a purpose. You know, he's, you know, on the surface that tough guy psychopath. There's a lot more to him. But I love that he is a believer. And what he is putting you through is absolutely for the greater good. And if you know him even a little bit, there's not any doubt in your mind. And I hope that comes off to you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Whiplash is actually probably my favorite NPC as well.
And
Not because he's my favorite person, because he certainly isn't.
Right, he treats them horribly.
Yeah.
But, like you said, I don't know that there is anyone that believes in what we're doing stronger than Whiplash.
And that was something that was important to me to come across to that character, but without being overt about. So, awesome.
Yeah, I like that. So my rough estimate is 147,000 characters that you have. How does playing
We're going to put quotes around that.
How does playing 147,000 characters differ from just getting to play the game as one person?
It's difficult. I mean, obviously, there's your answer, cut print, right? No, you don't get to spend the time that you'd like to sometimes. I mean, You know, it's very important to me, and this is something that will be touched on in other episodes, but it's very important to me to create everyone as lifelike as possible. That you're not talking to just NPCs, you're talking to people. And sometimes it's hard to do that effectively with some characters given the limited amount of screen time because, you know, it's Werewolf the Apocalypse, it's the story of your pack, it's not the story of my NPCs. You know, your interaction with someone like, say, Swingbird or Dooley is limited to the 20 minutes or something you're encountering Dooley, and he's not going to tell you his secret pain. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
So, to make these characters real and distinct, you know, it's why I try to give different voices, and I take on different body language when different characters are talking, to try to make that as organic as possible, but it's the time factor. It's not about me, it's about you guys. So you got to give as much personality as you can, as quickly as you can, without chewing on the scenery.
Which is a huge help in our games, because he could talk just like Porter in every single one of these characters, but sometimes that information coming from one person to a different person could be completely different. It could be the same information, but depending on who it's coming from, it could mean two different things.
No, it's true. And, you know, I try, I mean, there's a limited amount of voices I can do. But, you know, you try not to have, you know...
Everybody doesn't sound like Porter.
Right. To make as few people sound like Porter as possible. It's just my favorite ones.
Fair enough.
All right, well, I mean, I got a little bit of a zing-dinger for you.
What is that?
Sounds
just
like
go
a
with
made-up
it.
Danny
Just
word.
keep your pants on, we're fine.
Sorry.
No, put your pants back on, please, please.
I don't want to. You can't make me.
Oh, but she can.
Just keep the underoos on, at least.
All right, deal.
Power Rangers is a bold choice, by the way.
Thanks. You know, trying to keep away from just, you know, in quotes here, dots on a page. How would one, being a, you know, from a veteran player compared to a newer player, how would you portray your willpower, your gnosis, and your rage in game?
JJ, you want to start us off there? I think I jawed a lot.
Yeah, I'm a very physical player. Like, my body language, like, if I'm touching my head a lot, or I'm not looking at you guys, and I show, like, my willpower by, like, clenching my fists and being rigid and, like, talking in, like, 1 or 2 word spurts if I'm trying to, like, hold on to something. You know, the rage, it's, you know, large motions and getting the aggravation out. You know, because she is the warrior. She has a high rage rating. She's quicker to anger.
You know, in rage being a big thing, obviously we know the higher your rage is, you know, on the page, you're kind of supposed to portray that as an angrier character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
but I think there should be a little bit more than that.
oh yeah, there is. It's not just anger. It's the quick to snap. It's the quick to tell somebody to shut up.
Drop your filter.
Yeah. Like, you know, just say what's in your heart, but do it in a mean way. You know, those sarcastic, biting comments. Like, you know, if you roll an unsuccessful roll in a battle and be like, that's all you got? You know, it's that kind of thing. And the gnosis is harder because it's more of the spiritual. It's going to, you know, meditate and going to connect with the elders and, you know, the totems and stuff like that. That's harder for me to show.
Yeah, I agree. I think rage is probably the easier of the three.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd still like to hear it, especially from someone like Porter, who has to do it in, again, 147,000 different ways.
Well, the fun part is I don't stab my NPCs, so it's their shit's whatever I want it to be at any given time. I'm kidding. But
Is he really, though?
I don't know if he is.
only partial, only in that.
No, I think the main ones have stats. I just think, like, not everybody does, and not all of the stats.
Well, and does he look at those stats?
Oh, well, that's a totally different conversation.
Okay. It's behind the screen. Don't worry about what's going on behind the screen. Now, obviously rage. We'll start with the easy one first. Joey's right. You talk, like I mentioned, that lack of a filter. If I'm doing it and you guys have seen this, maybe I'll make sure to hunch my back, but I'm sticking my neck out. I've got the snarl, or I'll put my knuckles on the desk. I'm going to invade your personal space a bit. I'm gonna, my words are gonna bite a little bit more. Maybe I'm gonna talk through my teeth. And the higher rage, the more irrational you've got to be. But then the trick there is you're based on your willpower. You're trying to hold that back. No one says, "Hey, I'm gonna frenzy on my buddies today." That's not a goal. So you're always trying to snap it back, even if it's like a 9.
Yeah, I think if your goal is to frenzy on your buddies, maybe you need to find a different game.
I think maybe.
Or different groups.
Get like a therapist.
Yeah.
That might
Also
be a thing too. I don't know. That's your world. Willpower, I think, doesn't really factor in. That sounds like a non-answer, but it's really it serves a gameplay function, But it's a level of checks and balances playing against the rage, really.
No, and okay, against the rage, yeah, but the other game when she needed the willpower to do that thing that she did not want to do.
I don't disagree with you, but I guess where I'm going with it is we use willpower in real life all the time. So do you have to go out of your way to portray it? And I guess is what I'm getting at. It's the time that you don't have the extra drink when you're out with your friends after work. You just did it. That's how you do it. That's how you play willpower.
Yeah, but I think the stakes are higher.
You're not wrong. But there it is, though. You take that and you put the stakes higher. I don't think it needs a lot of discussion.
No.
Dosis, however.
I figure you're going to struggle a little bit with this.
Yeah, this is a dick question. No, I love it. It's how
Hopefully
do you,
I get some tears.
how do you? Yeah, it's fucking dream on, son.
I swear to God, if we don't bottle these correctly this time.
No, how do you properly portray a feeling of oneness and connection to everything without turning into Moonbeam the hippie man?
I was just gonna say, you mean turning into a child of Gaia?
Hey.
But that's the stereotype.
Calm down, rerun.
So
So I think, and I hate this answer already, but a level of zen, of just a level of calmness, and it directly contradicts with rage, but it's supposed to. It's your sage wind over a mountain next to your whiplash. It's the guy who goes, all right, cooler heads are going to prevail. Not as a decision they're making like willpower, but as a this is who I am. It's not a great answer, sorry.
no, I think that's all right.
I mean, to us it is because we know who those 2 characters are.
Yeah, but 6 people at least.
Yeah.
Look at how I think our listener base just rose like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's sweet of me.
I mean, it's possible.
But I think I'm getting a lot of emails going, fuck you. It's not a great answer. I copped to it. I did the best I could.
I definitely sprung that one on him.
That's great. I think I'm proud.
Yes.
So just like you guys asked us when you were questioning us, we are going to ask you as well. Do you have any suggestions or advice for someone who's interested in playing the game?
Or maybe even someone who wants to come back.
Jay, you got something? Because I got something.
Yeah, I know you got something.
Right.
You always got something.
Well, Porter, why don't you go ahead and start then?
All right. The last episode, you guys talked about, if you were on the fence about playing, to just go for it. What's the harm? And you're right. But I think something else is, don't be afraid to give it your all when you're doing it. We have a term around here that we're going to talk about more in the future, so I'm not going to get into a lot today, I don't think, is ring the bell. Where good enough is not good enough. And this is to say, if I'm telling a story next week and it's a moot, and during the opening howl, if Danny actually wants to howl, or do it. Because no one around that table is going to make fun of you. In your game, it shouldn't be a place where anyone's going to make fun of you for being that much in character and going the extra mile. That's a thing you should be applauded for all of the time. Do not be afraid to make yourself look like an ass or to feel like an ass because you're going that extra mile to be that much more in character. It's only going to make your character stronger and your game better for it.
And I think it's going to connect you to that character.
100%.
And when you guys were talking, you were saying that you struggled because you knew what you would do, but you also knew what your character would do. And that schism, it's like, no, you got to get past that. You got to put Jessica in the back seat and just have Willow.
Right.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
Exactly. And so, like, I love that about the game, when people just get into it and just go. You know, they just commit. They ring that bell, they howl, they jump up and down, and no, we're not going to make fun of anyone.
You know, we're talking in Porter saying how he has these, 147,000 characters, and he's telling us he's got the different voices and the different body language for each one.
Well, there was the time when, who was it? Was it Owl?
It was Owl. It was Owl.
You stood up and you were like clawing at the back of the chair. And
it was my rank challenge.
Okay. It was fantastic because you could see Owl there.
Oh God, he's doing it right now.
It started creeping me
out. Why?
Twitchy.
Short, quick answers. Oh man, I'm legitimately.
Oh, I wish
out
people
now.
could see this right now.
But I've learned from stuff like that. We mentioned in the previous episode, my character doesn't have an arm. He's missing an arm. So, in game, I like to take my arm out of my shirt and tuck it underneath my shirt to help me keep into that character.
Right. Yeah. You commit and you're doing it and you're living that person for that, hour.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully
So
it's longer.
Is that how long until we get waylaid? I've never timed it.
Oh, we should.
Oh, God, please.
No, we shouldn't.
Nah.
No, we shouldn't, because that'll be a distraction in itself.
That's probably true.
So, and we have a hard enough time with that as it is.
We'll start taking bets and then, intentionally try to kibosh it around the time that we're... Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I
Never
hurt
mind.
my feelings
All right.
already.
You like how
Alright.
he's the one who thought of that? He totally would have waylaid us.
He would. No, absolutely. Shadow Lord.
Integrity of the game.
Shadow Lord.
Integrity of the game.
Shadow Lord.
Integrity of the game.
I'm not sure who that was supposed to be.
Get back in your box.
No.
Oh, man.
Oh, what a collection of clowns. What is happening here?
Clowns and turtles.
Clowns and turtles. It's like, yeah, But, that's, those are some great questions. That is the list.
Yep, that's what we've got.
I'm kind of impressed with what they put together.
Yeah, I am too.
I half expected our exec list back at us, but slightly reworded.
Well, I mean, you guys didn't leave it here in the studio, so we couldn't take it.
It's a really good point. It's very sneaky of us that way.
Shadow Lord.
But
Ooh.
I want to hear
But
what questions our listeners have.
That is really a great point. And a way that we can get those questions, shockingly, is
There's a way?
There are several ways.
No.
There's a best way, but there are several ways.
Let me hear them.
I'm going to tell you. You can get us an email at rageacrosspodcast@gmail.com.
But wait, there's more.
There is more. You can go to Facebook, and while you're there, give it a like, because you like us. And if you don't, you can fake it. You'll never know the difference.
I mean, you might like us because we're assholes.
You might be.
Not the only one.
You can find us at Rage Across the Internet on Facebook. If you're a Twitter person, you can find us on Twitter at Rage Across. And, of course, you can tell all your friends to come and listen to the podcast, and they can do so on iTunes, Spotify, what's the other guy? Stitcher.
There you go.
Or at our own website at rageacrosstheinternet.buzzsprout.com. We always look forward to hearing what you have to say, and we cannot wait to come back next time and we'll see what we have for you.
Yeah, we'll have another topic, I'm sure.
Brand new episode, more hijinks. We want to thank you again for listening, for the support. It means a lot to us. And you guys be excellent to each other, and we'll see you later.
Rage Across the Internet's music is It's Into the Fog by Darren Curtis, shared with a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 unported license. For details, check out the information under the podcast.